All right, I thought I would go ahead and finish up the problem that we did in class just to sort of tie a bow on everything. One of the things that I mentioned at the very end was you could use this process to determine the deflection at any point. But we didn't go through that, so I kind of wanted to just make sure that everybody understood how that worked and sort of my approach for that to keep things simple and straightforward. So first off, if you want to find the deflection at any point, you need real moment functions, which we already have. We've got that from the previous work that we did. And then you need virtual functions. So for the virtual structure, what I'm doing is I'm taking a unit load, and instead of placing it at the free end right here, I'm instead placing it at an arbitrary point along the beam. And so I'm going to call that distance, what I've done here is I said I place the load A from the free end. And so I'm using the term A to sort of say any point along the beam. And I'm specifically making a point to not use X, okay? X is my function that I'm going to be integrating with respect to. So basically the point is when I finish my integration and I finish my virtual work process, I want A to still be left over. So remember, when you perform a definite integral in terms of X, the X vanishes. So I want the X to vanish, but I want the A to remain, hence why I'm using those terms. So what I did is I placed a unit load at some distance A from the free end. And so I've got my reactions here. So if I got one down, I got one up. And then in terms of our distances, if I'm A from the free end, then the load from the fixed end is L minus A, because the total beam needs to be L long. And so I've got my reactions, I draw my shear diagram, and I draw my moment diagram. So I have a constant shear diagram and a linear moment diagram, much like before with the load at the free end. It's just it's a little segmented. So what I need to do is I need to determine a moment function. So if you've noticed here, I've got 2 points on the on the moment diagram. Sorry, this is the moment diagram, and I've got 2 points. I've got A comma 0, and I've got L and this quantity L minus A. So if you know that the slope is minus 1, and the slope comes from the shear diagram, right? We have a minus 1 shear value here, so the slope has to be negative 1 on the moment diagram. So what do we know? We know that the slope is minus 1 and that it has to pass through the point A comma 0. And so what you'll find is that this moment diagram is essentially represented by 2 functions. So our real function goes from 0 to L. We're going to have an M1, which is 0, and that's valid from 0 to A, right? That's this region. That's M1. And then M2 is a line, okay? And the equation for that line, when you chug it out, is A minus X, okay? And that's valid from A to L. And if you have trouble following that, just use this, right? You're using y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1, right? So y minus 0 equals negative 1 x minus a. So y equals negative x plus a, or a minus x. So that's where I'm getting that second function. So, but the kicker, the thing you have to keep in mind is that there are 2 moment functions, right? Because if you were to plot this moment diagram, really what it looks like is it's 0 from 0 to A, and then you get your line, okay? So if I wanted to evaluate the principle of virtual work, or using the method of virtual work, here's how that would work. All right, so let me turn my black pen on. Okay, so method of virtual work. Remember, the deflection is found by summing all of your integrals. So if I want to find this deflection, we'll call it the deflection at point A, because that's where I applied my load. What you're going to do is you're going to integrate one set of functions from 0 to a plus another set of functions from a to L. Okay, so same real moment function, same capital M, because that function works for the entire beam, but little m1, little m2 for separate regions. But here's the thing. This first one, this first little m1 is 0, right? So basically what this means is that you are integrating 0 to a 0 dx plus this second integral. So this first integral we don't even need to worry about because you're ultimately going to be integrating 0. So that makes our life a little easier. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to pay attention to what's going on in this second integral. So let's see if we can parse this out. Okay, so integral from a to L of. Okay, so we're going to have 1 over EI. We're going to have M2, which is a minus x. And then we're going to have M, which is minus w over 2x squared. Okay, so this is the integral that we need to work out. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can factor out all the stuff that isn't, or that's a constant. So what that means is I'm going to, let's see, I can factor out the 1 over EI, and I can factor out the negative w over 2. So negative w over 2EI, and then integral from a to L, and I'm left with a minus x, x squared. All right, and so this is the integral that I need to work out, okay? And so this integral is going to be a little on the messy side because it's going to be alphabet soup. See, if I just, you know, multiply what's going on inside the integral. So I'm going to have ax squared minus x cubed dx. And it's evaluated from a to L. So unfortunately we don't get that lower bound 0 integral that we like. So this is going to get a little hairy. So we kind of need to just take our time with this. So let's take our time with this integral. In fact, what I'll do is I'm going to call this integral, you know, this is the integral. Let's just sort of pay attention to this integral on its own. So ax squared minus x third dx. Okay. Let me make sure my recording is still going. Yep. Okay. That would be bad if I was recording all this and it didn't evaluate. Okay. So we're integrating with respect to x. Okay. So because we're doing a definite integral, when it's all said and done, the x's should go away. All right. So what do we got? We've got ax squared, so this is a over 3 x to the third, right, minus 1 over 4 x to the fourth. And we're evaluating from x equals a to x equals L. Okay, so this is, you know, plug in the top number. So let's plug in the top number. And so what I'm going to do, the way I'm going to write this is we'll say 1/3 AL to the third minus 1/4 L to the fourth. Minus, and then plug in the bottom number. So 1/3 A to the fourth minus 1/4 A to the fourth. Okay, so now let's do a little bit of figuring here. So 1/3 minus 1/4 is 1/12. So we've got, so maybe what I'll do is I'll see if I can get rid of some of these parentheses. So 1/3 AL to the third minus 1/4 L to the fourth minus, and then everything in this parentheses, or to the right, 1/3 minus 1/4 is 1/12. So 1/12 A to the fourth. Okay, so there's the integral worked out. All right. So what I can do is I can then say the deflection at A is minus W over 2EI times what I just found out, this 1/3 AL cubed minus 4th L to the 4th minus 1/12 A to the 4th. And so everything from here on out is just algebra and cleaning it up a little bit. So let's distribute some of this multiplication and let's see if we can clean this up a bit. Okay, so equals. Okay, so I got to multiply this out. Now, don't forget I got this negative term right there. So see how I've got positive, negative, negative? I'm going to have to distribute that out. So I'm going to get minus, let's see, W A L to the 3rd over 6EI, so that's that first term, plus, let's see, WL to the 4th over 8EI, there we go, and then what do we got? We've got plus WA to the 4th over 24EI, okay? Now what I'm going to do, and this might seem a little strange, it's really not necessary for this problem because we're actually done, but I'm going to do a little bit of algebra manipulation for a specific reason, and you'll see this here in a second. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rearrange it. So I'm actually going to put the WA to the 4th over 24EI first. I'm going to take that negative term, put it in the middle. And then I'm going to take that last term and put it over here. And there's a reason I'm writing it in this order. Now what I'm going to do is let's do some factoring. Okay, so what can we pull out that's common to every term? So every term has a W. Every term has an EI on the bottom. And then what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pull out the 24. Okay, and so if you pull out the 24, what you're left with is the first term just has an A to the 4th. Okay, now the second term is going to have this AL to the 3rd, but there's going to be a constant left over, and if I pull out a 24, there was a 6 on the bottom, which means I got to have a 4 there. And then with this last term, I'm going to be left with the L to the 4th, but if there's an 8 on the bottom and I pull out a 24, got to have a 3 right there, because 3 over 24 is 8, just like 4 over 24. You're going to get that 6 on the bottom. Okay, now I want to be crystal clear. We could have just stopped right there. There's no reason to continue on with what I did here, but I want to show you why I took this and turned it into that. The reason why is I want to show you that this matches what's in the design aid. So if you exit this and you go back to that design aid and you zoom in, you can look at this. This is actually, let me see if I can, duplicate this on this, my little surface here. Forgive me. So if you look at this, you can see that these two formulas are actually exactly the same. The only difference is that the formula that we derived in terms of A, and the aid reported that in terms of X. The reason why I like to use the A is because I think it makes the integration a little easier. We use the same notation and the same process that we've been developing in the class, but in the end, you know, we still get the same function. That formula will tell you the deflection at any point in the beam, just like the formula in the A. The A just wrote it in terms of X, but we got the exact same answer. So again, like I said, there was really no reason to stop or to keep going from here. That first box, that was a perfectly valid answer. I just did a little bit more manipulation so that you could see it's exactly the same formula that we derived before. And every other aid in this, or every other formula in this analysis aid for deflections is going to be presented in a similar fashion. There are some other deflection methods that are more efficient than using virtual work, but again, the reason I like virtual work is because it's one method that works for really any problem. That's all I have for this video. I will see you all in class on Wednesday.